Greetings and welcome to the Brother Carlton Show. What are you learning today that will help you better serve God? I want to talk to you today about lessons I learned reflecting on family and loss. Some of my fondest childhood memories come from simple, quiet moments that carry profound meaning. I remember watching my Uncle Vic and his son Max tossing a football back and forth in my great-granny Lois's backyard. They moved with ease, a snapshot of familial connection, though I don't recall joining them. I was just a little boy, perhaps 7 or 8 years old. I was just an observer, soaking in the scene, without fully understanding its significance. But that memory has stayed with me. And it's really a symbol of a fleeting moment, you might say, in a family that, like all families, carried its share of burdens. One Christmas at Uncle Vic and Aunt Jean's house stands out vividly in my mind. The melody of "Do You Hear What I Hear" filled the room. Likely Bing Crosby's version. You might recall that song. His deep, resonant voice seemed to add a sense of reverence to the gathering. And I sat quietly, taking it all in, wondering about the purpose of the gathering, the haunting beauty of the song, with its message of Jesus' birth. It left a lasting imprint on me. Even now, hearing it transports me back to that moment, to that room, with all my relatives there. It was a reminder of how music can connect us to moments of hope and reflection, even in the midst of sorrow. Life isn't just made of moments of joy and tranquility. Some memories carry a heavier weight, lingering over the years. My Uncle Vic, for example, who had once tossed that football in the backyard, died tragically in 1966. I was just 8 years old when I attended his funeral. At the time, I didn't fully grasp the circumstances of his death, but years later, I learned the painful truth. He had jumped from the 4th floor of a hospital in San Francisco. Uncle Vic had been battling immense pain due to his treatment for smoking-related health issues. And whether it was physical agony or despair that drove him to such an act, his death left behind a trail of grief and unanswered questions. Standing over his open casket at the funeral, I can still see the image of him, his hands folded, a white cloth wrapped around his forehead to cover the damage from the fall. It was a haunting sight, still vivid in my mind after almost 60 years. In fact, this image has lingered in my mind, and it shaped my early understanding of life's fragility. Tragedy didn't stop there, however. 5 years later, in 1971, when I was living in my Aunt Jarena and Uncle Ron's house, I recall my aunt receiving a phone call. I was standing by the garage door that entered into the kitchen. And after what seemed like no more than a few minutes, she started to say something to me, but before she did, I could read her face as though something terrible had happened. I imagined that my beloved great-granny had died when I blurted out, "Did great-granny die?" She said, "No, but the death was my cousin Max Clear, who took his own life." I didn't know all the details at the time, but I do remember attending a memorial in Stockton, California. Everything about that is very fuzzy now. Max was born on Christmas Day in 1937, a fact that should have been a joyous milestone for the family, but his life ended in heartbreak. He had a new son, but his marriage was troubled and the weight of his struggles overwhelmed him. My cousin, Karen Margolis, the baby sister of Max, who had passed away, once told me that Max's wife was the source of his despair. True or not, I struggled to comprehend the choice Max made to leave his child fatherless. To me, it seemed a thoughtless and selfish act, but I also acknowledged the complexity of human pain and suffering. But before her death, I had several good phone conversations with her. In fact, I even took her out for lunch at one of my favorite restaurants in Sherman Oaks, California, called Jinkies. Jinkies. We sampled the delicious chili that they're famous for and then found our way to her daughter Cindy's place. And, well, Cindy was a celebrity of sorts, having done swimwear modeling and known for being the most downloaded girl on the internet. A very attractive picture of female pulchritude. The deaths of Uncle Vic and Max left indelible marks on our family, and it rippled through the generations. My great aunt, Jean, well, we called her Jean Bybee after she got married, but her married name was Jean Clear. That was Max's mother, carried the loss of these losses deeply. Christmas, which should have been a time of joy, became the sad reminder of what was lost. Max's birth on Christmas Day in 1937 was once a cause for celebration, but his untimely death cast a shadow over the holiday for Aunt Jean. Each December 25th brought a mix of memories, and her sadness was palpable. My great-grandmother Lois also carried the weight of these tragedies. Oh yeah, I remember that. She had seen so much in her lifetime, raising 3 daughters, enduring personal losses, and stepping in to care for me when my mother couldn't. Lois often reflected on Max's death, though I can't recall her exact words. Her sorrow was evident, and it was a testament to her deep love for her family and her resilience in the face of so much hardship. As I reflect on these moments now, I'm struck by how much they shape my perspectives on life and love and responsibility. The losses of Uncle Vic and Max serve as reminders of the fragility of life and the importance of finding strength and meaning in the face of adversity. Their absence left a void in my childhood, a void where father figures and mentors could have stood. Had Uncle Vic and Max lived, they might have provided lessons and guidance during my formative years. Without them, I had to navigate my journey largely on my own, piecing together lessons from those around me. Their stories compel me to appreciate the family members I do have and to seek strength in moments of hardship. Ah, the faithfulness of God's mercies. You know, in the midst of these tragedies, I'm reminded of a verse from Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 and 23. Reading from the King James, "It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." Well, looking back, I can see God's hand preserving me through the pain and loss. Even in the absence of Uncle Vic and Max, God placed others in my life to teach me, guide me, and help me grow into the person I am today. These stories, though painful, are an integral part of my journey. They remind me to cherish the time we have with loved ones and to be a source of hope and encouragement for others. Life is fleeting, and our choices leave lasting impact or impacts on those around us. In sharing these experiences, I hope to offer my listeners a glimpse into the complexities of family, the reality of loss, and the unshakable hope that comes from God's faithfulness. Now, quiet lessons that can bring transformation. The absence of certain male role models and the loss of my uncle and cousin highlight the importance of guidance during formative years. I trust this will teach you the necessity of mentorship, especially for young people who might lack positive influences in their life. My story isn't just about tragedy. It's about redemption. The presence of God's grace through it all demonstrates how brokenness doesn't have to be the end of the story. My listeners should be reminded that their own struggles can lead to profound transformation if, and I say if, they remain open to growth and healing. Now, if this message resonated with you, please hit the follow. Give me a thumbs up if you're watching my video. Subscribe. And stay tuned for future episodes, podcasts, YouTube videos. If you found me on Spotify or Apple, I thank you for your diligent search. I want to grow this podcast, so please share it with somebody out there, would you? I really appreciate your support. If you share this with just one person out there, just one person, imagine what good you could do. All right? To share this message with somebody that's hurting out there right now, that's lonely, depressed over a loved one who they lost. I've experienced it. Our family's experienced it. But I remember what Paul said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Until we meet again, may the Lord richly bless you.